In this podcast, we're going to be looking at methods of forming. There are 4 you need to know. The first is blow moulding, the second is injection moulding, the third is vacuum forming, and the fourth is line bending. The first method we're going to look at is blow moulding. Blow moulding is a common industrial process for shaping plastics. The plastics that are usually used in this process are polythene, PVC, and polypropylene. The stages involved in blow moulding are plastic granules are fed into a hopper that stores them. A large thread is turned by a motor which feeds the granules through a heated section. In this heated section, the granules melt and become a liquid, and the liquid is fed into a mould. Air is forced into the mould, which forces the plastic to the sides, given the shape of the bottle. The mould is then cooled and removed. Blow moulding is used to make plastic bottles and containers for all sizes and shapes, such as fizzy drink bottles, shampoo bottles. The advantages of blow moulding is that intricate shapes can be formed, can be produced hollow with thin walls to reduce the weight and material costs, is ideal for mass production because it has a low unit cost for each moulding. The disadvantage of blow moulding is that there is a high initial setup cost as moulds are expensive to develop and produce. The second method we're going to look at is injection moulding. Injection moulding is very similar to blow moulding, as a hopper is used to store plastic granules which are then thread through a screw and heated until they become liquid. This liquid is then forced into a mould, but instead of relying on air, pressure is used until the plastic fills the mould. The mould is then cooled and the plastic released. Injection moulding is used for making casings for toys, plastic components, games casings for electronic products, as well as games controllers. The advantage of this method is that it's ideal for mass production as it has a low unit cost when mass produced. It is also highly accurate and gives a high quality surface finish. Also, textures can be added to the surface easily. The disadvantage, as with blow moulding, is that there's a high initial setup cost as moulds are expensive to develop and produce. The next method we're going to look at is vacuum forming. In vacuum forming, this involves creating a former out of a piece of wood that has been shaped, placing it into the vacuum former onto a bed that is lowered. A sheet of polystyrene, high impact polystyrene, is then placed into the vacuum former and heated. Once the high impact polystyrene has been heated and starts to droop, the former is raised until it comes into contact with the high impact polystyrene, and then a vacuum is turned on, which sucks all the air out, allowing the plastic to be formed around the former. This method is used to make chocolate box trays, yogurt pots, and blister packaging. The advantages of this method are that it's ideal for batch production as it is inexpensive, and it is relatively easy to remake the moulds as they can be easily modified. The disadvantage of this method is that the moulds need to be accurate. They also need to be produced with a 15-degree angle so the former can be taken out of the plastic. Also, large amounts of waste plastic can be produced as a result of this forming method. The next method we're going to look at is line bending. Line bending is where you take a piece of acrylic, mark a line where you need to bend the plastic, place that lined area over a strip heater until it is flexible, and then using a mould, bend the plastic around that mould until you get the desired bend in the plastic. This method is used to make brochure, menu, and business card holders and other shop signage. The advantages of this method is it's ideal for one-off and batch production. It's good for straight bends as they are produced efficiently. Precise temperature control over the heated area gives a neat, precise bend. It has a low setup cost and can be computer controlled, allowing precise components to be formed time and time again. The disadvantage is that bends have to be accurately marked out before folding. The acrylic can also bubble if it is overheated, and formed bents have to be allowed to cool for some time in the exact position, or they tend to spring back slightly. That concludes this section of the revision. If you have any questions, please come and speak to me.